Okay, that was good. Move a little closer to the microphone and just project your voice a little more.
Okay.
Mr. Gerald Johannick is now 86 years old, but he can still remember when he was 3.
But we had to herd cattle those days because there were no fences, you know. The fences were starting to go up, I suppose, when I left the farm. I never was much for farming, you know. Oh, that wasn't my cup of tea. I wanted machinery. I wanted something that cackled.
Gerald didn't like farming, but loved farmers. He became a trucker and hauled cattle to South St. Paul. Gerald said, "Anything that benefits the farmer benefits me."
So trucks in the old days, how fast would they go?
Well, when we first started, say like in 1927, if you got 30 miles an hour out of them wide open, you were lucky. Yeah, very lucky. You had to do that downhill and with the wind. Yeah, when we hauled stock in 1931, it'd take us around 5 hours to go from here to the cities. Now you take a truck, you make it in a little over 2 hours. I hauled 26 years in the South St. Paul, and boy, I knew every inch of ground from here to South St. Paul. I had all kinds of experience. In 1934, I had a truck driver's strike. It got pretty ferocious. There was a lot of deaths, you know. They'd done a lot of shooting. You know, Archie Dennison and Laird and them, they were at the National Guard. They had a machine gun set on the Plymouth building there in Hennepin Avenue. And we got in on that, because we were hauling to beat Ben. I had Fred Henske along one time, and right there they had great big railroad ties. If you didn't stop, they threw them tires right ahead of your truck. They were mean as hell, boy. And they had a right to do it. So it was up to you, you know. So if you was kind of decent about it, you could compromise with them. And Fred Henske, I was going to get smart with one of them. I said, "Fred, just let me handle it." I said, "I'm kind of used to this." He had the cane, he was going to whack one of them when he was going to open the window. No, I said, "Don't do that." I said, "That'd be the wrong thing to do." Of course, the most exciting was when they robbed the post office. That was a Barker Carpus gang, but I know the Homer Van Meter was there, and Pretty Boy Floyd, and Babyface Nelson, and Ma Barker, and Alvin Carpus. The day that they robbed it, I was down at the Truckers Terminal, and I heard some cracking. Oh, it was awful. So I thought, well, I better go up and see. I walked across the tracks, and they were just driving away. Joe Tresky was just climbing out from under his truck, and when he heard the shooting, he crawled under the truck. And he was just crawling out when I got there, and I said, "What the hell going on here, Joe?" Well, he said, "Look at the marks on the post office. The machine gun had just smashed a lot of brick and stuff, you know, and they mowed everything out of the path of that payroll, you know." God, I thought that was exciting as hell, you know.
When Gerald was 20, he went to Dunwoody Institute to study dead engines and blacksmithing. At Dunwoody, he didn't really like their meals, so he went to White Castle. There he would buy 5 hamburgers for $0.05 apiece, and then he would get one free.
You've got to have language, you know, and information. In order to carry on any tradition or any history, it works like revelation, kind of, you know. One tells the other one, you know. You better hope it isn't all baloney either.
I want to know what the Dray Line is.
What?
What's the Dray Line?
Well, the Dray Line is when we used to have a railroad running through here. They'd unload the freight at the depot, and we had a Dray Line. We'd pick it up and deliver it to various places in town, wherever it was billed to. Like the drugstores usually got drugs that came in jugs and stuff, and various other things. Then the stores got groceries, but beer would come in and whiskey and everything by train, and we had to deliver that all to the stores, the liquor stores. Well, we bought the Dray Line from Vic Bergstrom in 1935, and we quit in 1957. That's when the trains quit, too. That was quite a truck when it was new. That cost $8,500 in 1948. It was quite a truck. It's got a huge rear axle in it, and that's what we liked. And see, we designed it for a snow plow, and that's hydraulic controls here for the snow plow. We haul a lot of stuff with this truck. Get a good shot of that white name here if you can. That was pretty good stuff in that baby. Everything was pretty heavily built. The fenders are heavy, but now the birds have built nests all over. I see they're in the cabin all over. I suppose here's where it'll stay till nature takes it back. It'll go back in the iron mine.
How do you remember names so well? I would never be able to remember names.
Well, you got to
dates.
practice a lot. You know, nights when I'm lying in bed, you know, I practice that. And I keep practicing that so that I don't forget it, see? I do it in my mind, you know.
How do you practice it?
Well, I think of various things that I've told people, and I go all over that. It's just like kind of a storybook. I go through the whole thing, what towns we stopped in, and it's just like a string, and I just keep following that string. All the events that occurred are on that string.
When Gerald was younger, a painter came to his house. His name was Painter Bill. He would only paint for beer. Gerald was really curious, so he climbed up Painter Bill's ladder and was too scared to come down.
I'll never forget it because I was so doggone scared. I just screamed, you know, and I didn't want to go back down. I was scared to go down. And that's like an indelible mark in my mind. It'll never leave.
Just happened to run into you now because she's going to want to paint that sign, and we didn't know. Well, would that be 1901 to 1930? Would that sound pretty good?
Yes, that sounds about right because John Zern used it for a coal shed for a while.
I wouldn't say what we counted, but my estimate is we've probably gotten 950. And normally we get about 1,200.
You're the guy that always called me by my first name, and I wondered how the hell you knew Gerald. You darn right, boy, I tell you.
Oh yeah, I don't forget, boy. But I like to do everything I did. I don't think anybody should do something he dislikes. Because you're never a success doing something you dislike. You might do it on kind of the paycheck, but you'll never be a success. You gotta love what you're doing or like it, and then you become successful. You'll make it go even against all odds.